What's up, everyone? I'm back at y'all with another video. Now for this one, this is a video of my comedy movie collection. Now, I'm a big movie fan, so I love comedy, horror, some drama movies. Um, so yeah, and of course for this video, it's a video of my comedy movie collection. Now, I'm actually a really big fan of comedy movies because I like to laugh some and stuff. So yeah, now let's begin. First up, we have Welcome Home, Roscoe Jennings. Now, I haven't even watched this movie yet, but I am a big Martin Lawrence fan. I enjoy 95% of his movies, so I'm definitely going to have to check this movie out. Next up is Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. This movie is freaking hilarious. Martin Lawrence did a great job, and so did Eddie Murphy in this movie. Very enjoyable film. Next up, we have the Big Mama's House Trilogy. To me, this is a perfect trilogy because I love all three of these movies. Like, there's some people that hate these movies, which is I can never understand that because these are some of the best comedies that I've ever seen because it's pretty much an action comedy. The Big Mama's House Trilogy is, but I wouldn't mind seeing a fourth Big Mama's House movie. If they ever come with the fourth one, I'm there day one because I love these movies. Next up, we have the American Pie, the complete 8 movie collection. This came with all, like, the first 8 movies. Then I also have, of course, American Pie Girls Rules, which is the weakest out of all the American Pie movies. This movie had forced jokes. Didn't care for this movie that much. Like, it was forced, the jokes were, but the first 4 movies were great. And then these ones, they were okay, and then they slowly started getting worse. And then you have American Pie Girls Rules, which is the worst one in the American Pie franchise. Next up, we have Hall Pass, one of the most funniest movies that I've ever seen. I love this movie. Very fun. If you haven't watched this movie, I highly recommend it. If y'all love comedy movies, if you are a huge fan of comedy movies, I highly recommend this movie. Hall Pass. Next up is Horrible Bosses 1 and 2. I love both of these movies. And Jennifer Aniston in these movies are freaking just... She's freaking hot. Like, she still looks good. Like, she's like, I think 40 or 50 or something like that. I think she's 50. She don't look it at all. Like, I swear, she looks like she's 30. As crazy as that sounds. Next up, we have Dodgeball. I grew up watching this movie. This movie is very fun. I enjoyed this movie from beginning to end. It's very funny and entertaining. Dodgeball. Next up, we have Little Man and White Chicks. Love both of these movies. I grew up watching Little Man, one of my favorite comedies of all time. It's easy to say that because it's just a great film. And you have White Chicks, which is another great film. So, yeah. And the movie White Chicks reminds me of a lot about Big Mama's House. So, yeah. Next up is Get Hard. Now, this movie is freaking hilarious. There are some hilarious scenes in this movie. Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart delivers in this film. So yeah, very enjoyable comedy movie. Love it. Next up, we have We're the Millers. What a fantastic comedy. Like, this movie's freaking hilarious. I love it. And you have, of course, Jennifer Aniston in it, which is, she's freaking just looks great and everything. Like, how you just look hotter and, like, as you age. Like, how do you look hotter as you age? Like, it's crazy. We're the Millers. Pretty good comedy. Next up, we have the Bill and Ted Trilogy. Now, when somebody asked me what's the perfect trilogy, at first it was Toy Story. But, of course, they had to make a fourth one. Now it ain't a trilogy anymore. But, yeah, the freaking Bill and Ted Trilogy is a perfect trilogy. Literally, I put it on par with the Back to the Future trilogy. So yeah, and they're great comedies. They're great time travel movies. So yeah, Bill and Ted, the Bill and Ted trilogy. Next up, we have Bad Boys 1 or 2 and Bad Boys for Life. Now, I wouldn't call this a perfect trilogy yet because apparently they're working on a fourth movie and they kind of set it up for a fourth movie in Bad Boys for Life. By the end of it, they kind of set it up for a fourth movie. So I couldn't call this a trilogy just yet unless they don't make no more. But yeah, I enjoy all these movies. They're funny as hell. Love the first one. Love the second one better than the first one. Love Bad Boys for Life better than the second one. So they slowly kept getting better and better and better in each movie. That's what I love about the Bad Boys franchise. So yeah, and they're action packed, as well as with a lot of comedy. Next up, we have the Back to the Future trilogy. Now this is a perfect trilogy, just like the Bill and Ted trilogy. A perfect, well done trilogy. Like Back to the Future and Bill and Ted, I can go on and off which one's the best trilogy, and it's hard to say because both of these are perfect trilogies in my opinion. Next up, we have A Million Ways to Die in the West. Now Seth MacFarlane did a good job in this film, and you also have Charlize Theron and Liam Neeson as the villain. You have Liam Neeson playing the main villain in this movie. Which is pretty cool. And this movie is freaking hilarious. This movie is freaking hilarious. I enjoyed this movie from start to finish. Very fun movie. Next up, we have Bill and Ted 1 and Bill and Ted 2. Now, I love both of these movies. Now, this movie, like these movies could literally have the potential to be a perfect trilogy if they make a third one and they make it perfect. Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane did a great job with this film. Mark Wahlberg, I'm not the biggest fan of. He's done some great movies, but he's not my go-to movie star. But these are probably his best movies he's ever done was Ted 1 and 2. The sequel is even better than the first one, so I would love to see a Ted 3 because I love both of these movies so freaking much. They're freaking hilarious. Like, they're hilarious, and I enjoy these movies a hell of a damn lot. What perfect movies, in my opinion. Next up, we have Friday, Next Friday, Friday After Next, and All About the Benjamins. Now, I'm actually a really big fan of Ice Cube's movies. Not a big fan of his music or anything, but I love his movies a hell of a lot. His movies are great in my opinion. I like the Friday trilogy is a perfect trilogy unless they hurry up and make that fourth movie, because I wouldn't mind seeing a fourth movie. And I love All About the Benjamins, and stuff. And I've noticed that Ice Cube does a lot of action comedies, and Friday movies are kind of like action comedies or action drama comedies in a way. So, and then also All About the Benjamins is an action drama comedy as well. So I enjoy all four of these movies right here. Ice Cube is one of my favorite movie stars. Next up, we have Are We There Yet? And Are We Done Yet? Now, these movies have the potential to be a perfect trilogy as well. Like, if they made a third one, it could have the potential to be the best, like one of the greatest trilogies. Are We There Yet's probably my personal favorite because it had even more emotion than the second one. But the second one did still have a little bit of emotion. But the first one, there's something about it that was just magical that's still emotional to this day. But the second one is still a great sequel. Next up, we have Ride Along 1 and Ride Along 2. Now, I really want this to be a trilogy because there's a lot they could do with the trilogy with these movies. They can literally be, because these movies are sort of like buddy cop movies. They pretty much are. Yeah, they are buddy cop movies. They're like the Bad Boys franchise. They're like the what was the other buddy cop franchise? I forgot what that franchise was, but Lethal Weapon, yeah, Lethal Weapon franchise, or like that. Um, so yeah, they need to make a trilogy of these movies because it has the potential to be one of the best buddy cop franchises out there. Next up is, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Ice Cube's movies. I got most of his movies here. Is Barbershop 1, Barbershop 2, and Barbershop The Next Cut, the third one. Now, the third one's probably the weakest out of all the Barbershop movies. It almost felt like a cash grab in times. You know, Ice Cube is like you could tell he has a passion for acting. Because he was great in most of his movies for real. Like, I'm actually a really big fan of Ice Cube's movies. So yeah. Next up is Fist Fight. Like this is like a pretty much an action comedy in a way, but this movie is freaking hilarious. Freaking hilarious. Like, if y'all love comedies, if y'all love these two actors right here, like Ice Cube and the other guy, I think his name's Charlie Day, if I'm not mistaken. The other guys, y'all will love this movie because this movie is freaking filled with a lot of laughs. That ending when they was fighting each other, that ending was hilarious. And so yeah, this movie is a very, very fun popcorn type of comedy. So yeah, Fist Fight. So yeah, I guess for this video. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, please subscribe and share. And also hit the bell so you know when new videos uploaded. Peace out. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm out. Peace.